Good to see you today. We're going to be getting into the life of Joseph today. Our hymn is called Who Are These in Bright Array?
Who are these in bright array? This innumerable throng round the altar night and day, tuning their triumphant song. Worthy is the Lamb unslain, best in honor, glory, power, wisdom, riches to obtain, new dominion every hour. Is through fiery trials trod, these from great affliction came, now before the throne of God, sealed with His eternal name, that in raiment pure and white, victor palms in every hand, through their great Redeemer's might, more than conquerors they stand. Hunger, thirst, disease unknown, on immortal fruits they feed. Then the Lamb amidst the throne shall to living fountains lead. Joy and gladness banish sighs, perfect love dispels their fears, and forever from their eyes God shall wipe away their tears.
Okay, the song is obviously a meditation of passages in Revelation, as you have the some of the things that are described here there in that passage. But regardless, those in bright array, you might think about Joseph and his coat of many colors. And so before we read that passage, we left off yesterday. Genesis 33 is Jacob and Esau meet, and I thought we might just give it a little bit of context just because we're skipping a few chapters. So chapter 34, it's the account of Dinah, and if you're familiar with that account, you know what couple of Jacob's sons do. Then you have God blesses and once again talks about Jacob's name. Chapter 36 discusses Esau's descendants a bit, who are going to be the Edomites. And then in chapters 37, we get into Joseph's dreams. Now Jacob dwelt in the land where his father was a stranger in the land of Canaan. This is the history of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brothers, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought a bad report of them to his father. Now Israel loved Joseph more than all his children, because he was the son of his old age. Also he made him a tunic of many colors. But when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him, and could not speak peaceably to him. Now Joseph had a dream, and he told it to his brothers, and they hated him even more. So he said to them, Please hear this dream which I have dreamed. There we were, binding sheaves in the field. Then behold, my sheaves arose and also stood upright, and indeed your sheaves stood all around and bowed down to my sheaf. And his brothers said to him, Shall you indeed reign over us? Or shall you indeed have dominion over us? So they hated him even more for his dreams and for his words. And then he had another dream, and told it to his brothers, and said, Look, I have dreamed another dream, and this time the sun, the moon, and the 11 stars bowed down to me. So he told it to his father and his brothers, and his father rebuked him, and said to him, What is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall your mother and I and your brothers indeed come to bow down to the earth before you? And his brothers envied him, but his father kept the matter in mind. Okay, so in thinking about the account, of course we know what's going to happen. And so I was thinking about how we can lose, how we can lose our salvation, how we can lose the Lord's blessings, and what sort of things were going on in the brothers' hearts at this time. One is envy, and it is very easy to be envious. Material blessings may be involved. Spiritual blessings may be involved. We need to be very careful about envy and jealousy, such things along those lines. And of course, what ties in with that is hatred. The brothers are envious of Joseph. There Joseph is, and he shows up with that coat of many colors. And the brothers are envious, which it mentions at the end of our reading, and here they just hate him. Verse 4, they hated him, they could not speak peaceably to him. We need to be very careful, and we need to be honest. How we think about our brethren can make or break us. And man, Joseph's brothers just hate him. And we can hate our brethren. And whoever says he loves the Lord and hates his brother, in 1 John it says the love of God does not abide with him, or however it phrases that. It's like you cannot, I think what John says, he is a liar. You cannot love God and hate your brother. It's impossible. The brothers, they are full of envy. They're full of hatred. And I think they're full of pride. And Joseph is their younger brother. And they're like, we're not bowing down to you. I wish they would have slowed down and thought about it. Because some people think that Joseph should not have told them these dreams. Maybe not. It makes the point, it's like, oh, well, he was, with the sons of Bilhah, the sons of Zilpah, But these dreams do not only concern the sons of Bilhah and the sons of Zilpah. Those dreams also concern his father and mother, but also the 11 stars. That's all the brothers. Well, who would one of those brothers be? That would be his younger brother, Benjamin. And so if they would have paused and said, it's not just about, it's like, oh, well, Joseph is Rachel's son. Yeah, but Benjamin is Rachel's son too. And so they're just looking at it because of their hatred and their envy. They're looking at it through that lens, and it's all they can see. They can just see envy and hatred, and they're proud. And ultimately, some of this, at least, is about authority. Right, as the sheaves bow down, as the moon and the stars, the sun and the moon and the stars bow down. And so I think you also have to think about issues pertaining to authority. Now, we know how the story's going to end. They're going to come and they are going to bow down. We'll talk more about that in the coming days. But this is how we can lose. This is how we can lose our salvation. We can be filled with jealousy, we can be filled with hatred, we can be filled with pride, and we can despise authority. Because ultimately, Jesus is our brother. Jesus is the child of God, right? The Son of God. But it's Scripture that says we are his brethren. He is not ashamed to call us his brethren. And so we need to think about how we look at Jesus. Because ultimately, he is the heir. Here, Joseph, the coat of many colors, This is an inheritance issue. And so the Lord, thankfully we have an inheritance, but we better recognize who the favorite son is. And all glory goes to Jesus. And we better bow down to Jesus. And we better not be lifted up in pride at Jesus. And we better not be jealous and hateful when he gives commands and he expects us to obey him. And so we think about the Lord's Son. You might look back at the account. You might notice this is one of those places where verse 1, now Jacob dwelt, and verse 3, now Israel. There's more going on here than meets the eye, so to speak. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.